Hello again. One of the ways in which we ordinary people are persuaded to restrain ourselves from launching a revolution and tearing our rulers to pieces limb from limb is by giving us plenty of distractions, which will keep us so busy that we don't focus on the real nature of our difficulties. The ancient Romans recognised this, and it was said that the way to keep the mob happy and stop them rebelling was to provide them with panem et circenses, bread and circuses. In other words, if ordinary people had full bellies and some kind of entertainment, then they won't think too deeply about the essential nature of society and the remedies for the problems they face. So it is that some people in Britain today spend their time wondering whether the Woolwich Arsenal or the Tottenham Hotspurs will win some football trophy or other, or perhaps who should be voted off Big Brother, or the best act in some televised talent contests like Britain Has Talent. Sometimes, though, people refuse to be distracted by such things, and they start asking serious questions about matters such as immigration. When this happens, an artificial controversy is launched about, say, the advantages or disadvantages of leaving the European community or withdrawing from the European Convention on Human Rights. Neither of these actions would make the slightest difference to immigration, of course, but they do provide safe outlets for people's anger and frustration. Just as with who wins the World Cup or the Olympic Games, the result of such debates and contests will have no effect at all on immigration to Britain, but they provide the illusion that something practical is being done about the problem. So it was that what became known as Brexit was the focus of those who wished to reduce immigration a few years ago. It occupied their energy for years until finally the goal was achieved and a referendum was held. Victory for those that wanted to leave Europe, followed by a few more years of wrangling. However, the actual effect of all that was that far from going down, immigration actually rose following the referendum of Britain leaving Europe. Brexit, the discussion of which had occupied so much time, proved to have nothing at all to do with immigration. Of course it didn't. It never had. It was not the European Union which was responsible for all the immigrants entering Britain, but rather the British government. They wanted plenty of Chinese and Indian students to prop up our universities financially, and so allowed as many as wished to enter the country. They were keen to lure well-to-do Chinese people here from Hong Kong, and so granted them all the right to live here. They were happy to have Ukrainian and Afghan refugees by the 100,000. None of this was anything at all to do with the European Union, and it never had been. The whole debate about Brexit was a piece of nonsense designed to divert people's attention from how immigration really worked. Countries which remained in the European Union, Hungary and Finland for example, have had no difficulty at all in limiting and reducing immigration. In 2015, the year before the referendum on membership of the European Union in this country, people in Britain were arguing furiously about a matter which would have no effect whatever on immigration. That same year in Hungary, they were reinforcing their borders and building razor wire fences while rushing troops to the border to prevent columns of illegal immigrants from entering their territory. It was the Hungarian government which was controlling immigration, without any reference at all to the European Union. Their efforts were remarkably successful. I was in Budapest last year, and I can report that it is an ethnically and culturally homogeneous city, unlike London. If a landlocked country in Central Europe can achieve this, then of course an island like Britain could, if its government wished to do so. Finland too is a member of the European Union, but they are actively turning back asylum seekers and refugees and refusing to allow them to apply for asylum in their country. The Finnish government is doing this without any reference to the European Union. The reason that we have so many foreign immigrants never had anything at all to do with belonging to the European Union. It was a consequence of decisions by the British government. Look at Hungary and see how it works. The debate about Brexit was a classic case of people's attention and anxieties being directed into useless and pointless conversations about something which would have no effect at all upon this country. Perfect example of Parliament circuses. The current talk about the European Convention on Human Rights and the European Court is another example of this, which I might deal with in another video. Those wishing to tackle such problems need to aim at the cause of the problem and not allow their energies to be misdirected in this way.